Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. Jermaine Franklin, the unbeaten American fringe contender, currently 20-0, has announced that he is signed to fight Dillian Whyte. But now he's waiting on Whyte to return and reciprocate, complete the paperwork so a fight between the two can be on. So not quite done and dusted, but halfway home, Jermaine Franklin has been a name that has persistently been linked with Dillian Whyte for about 6 months now, and it looks like it is going to happen. But you can see here on screen, so here is the post from Jermaine Franklin. I signed the paperwork, I'm in camp. If I'm a bum, then sign your paperwork. I will be 21-0 after I hit you in your glass jaw. Message to Dillian Whyte. Right hand side of the post with his comment, he says, I want my shot. I'm undefeated. I signed the paperwork. Can someone tell me where Dillian Whyte is? He is ducking me. My signature is on the agreement. Your friend is boxing. Your friends in boxing, I told you, I hit hard and I'm fast. I want you to feel that in the ring. Don't run from me. And then in another post, this one here on Twitter, he says, the ink is dry. I signed my agreement. Where are you, Betty White? It's time to make this happen. If I'm a bum, then sign your paperwork if you can spell your name. And then hashtagging or atting a bunch of people, I should say, including yours truly. I don't know if I should feel honored to be in with Box Nation there, RIP Box Nation. But anyway, Franklin Whyte. This is a fight seemingly on the way to be, getting made, but not quite home. Dillian Whyte has, though, not posted anything in response to this on Instagram. Very inactive in Twitter on Twitter of late. Nothing since the 20th of August. If he is going to get this done, probably we'll have something in the next few days, potentially announcement. But who knows, because it's not a done deal. And we can't say it is until he signs the paperwork, because plenty of examples where in boxing and heavyweight history, even recent heavyweight history, I remember a few instances with Joseph Parker having contracts out to a number of fighters. They'd signed at their end of the deal. Lucas Brown, for example, Joseph Parker was looking around for different opponents, eventually signed for the Anthony Joshua fight. So this is not something that's uncommon, that you've got some feelers out, you've got a contract out, a guy signed on, but it's not done until you complete the paperwork. So Dillian Whyte, if he wants the Jermaine Franklin fight, it's not just there, it's ready and rearing and waiting to go. And so too is Franklin from what he's saying. But I guess for a number of people, they'll be asking the question, is this the fight I want to see Dillian Whyte in? Clearly, Jermaine Franklin, I mean, obviously the way they would promote this fight is he's unbeaten, he's American, he's got a few knockouts on his record, but I mean, when you do look at the record, they have been drying up since he stepped up to any real level. And some people will not know Jermaine Franklin, will not have seen any of his fights or many of them. But you can see here, so Franklin, and he looks a bit different now. This is obviously a few years old, this photo. Going back to, where was it? Oh, man. Close those white pages down. Yeah, he's sort of got dreads at this point. But 20-0, 6'2", 77-inch reach, actually fairly similar dimensions in that respect to Dillian Whyte. So effectively they'd be looking each other right in the eyes there. Recent opponents, Pavel Sauer, Jerry Forrest, Rydell Booker. As I mentioned, so on the right hand side here, a lot of his fights have been going the distance recently. So Craig Lewis, so this was in 2018, so not super active Jermaine Franklin, just the 4 fights since 2018, but Lewis actually pretty durable sort of gatekeeper, but went the distance. He went the distance with Rydell Booker. Very close and competitive fight. You may recall Rydell Booker was the heavyweight, so he was fighting way back in the day, ended up having a prison sentence, came out of prison, and on his comeback fought Franklin. Very close and competitive fight. Some people thought that he was unlucky not to win that it was much closer than the scorecard suggested. You can see here, 98-92, 99-91, 98-92. That would suggest a very lopsided fight. It was not not that. But an even closer fight, Jerry Forrest, which was the next fight, also went the distance. 97-93, 95-96 to Forrest, 97-93. Quite a few people who saw that fight thought that Forrest was very unlucky. And then Pavel Sauer, also a 10-round decision. He did drop Sauer sort of in the round 6 and round 10, but he couldn't get him out of there. And in context, other heavyweights who fought Sauer of late, Aslanbek Makhmudov, 33 seconds just recently. Filip Hrgovic sparked him in a round a few years back. Nathan Gorman, a couple of rounds. Even Hughie Fury sparked him in 3 rounds. So there is definitely a question about Jermaine Franklin's power. And I guess he's sort of alluding to that in his post a little bit, that, if he's a bum and all this sort of stuff, sign your paperwork. So is this the fight that heavyweight fans want to see? Well, I think there will be a section of fans, maybe American fans, Franklin fans in particular, who would love this fight. Remembering this is a step-up opportunity for Jermaine Franklin. He's been looking for something like this. But as I say, he's gone to decision in recent fights, and I've mentioned in recent videos where this has been a topic of discussion, hasn't necessarily looked great against the guys like Pavel Sauer, Jerry Forrest, Rydell Booker. A lot of those, or maybe not so much the Sauer fight, he was winning that comfortably enough. But, he did have a couple of rounds taken from him in that one. But he didn't separate himself from those guys, is what I'm sort of saying. He looked a little one-paced at times, but unbeaten still. And Whyte has said recently that he wanted to, for his next fight, which is seemingly going to be the 30th of October in the UK, that he wanted someone that was maybe a peg down from some of the guys that he's been fighting. And I guess, to be honest, Franklin sort of fits into that sort of mold. But it is one of these sports where you can't just expect that if you're expecting an easier night that you're going to get it. Franklin is probably going to be harder to get rid of than, just some sort of easy beat. But compared to some recent opponents and the dangerousness of them, Oscar Rivas, also Alexander Povetkin, others in recent times, Joseph Parker, I don't think, at least at this point, that Franklin's proven that he's on that level. But for him, it's an opportunity of a lifetime. No doubt it would be a career-high payday. He's eager, raring to go, and he wants to be able to, show that he can foot it with top competition. Dillian Whyte, currently the holder of the WBC interim title. So I guess this would be some sort of defense of that title. I'm not sure in terms of the interim title what that means in terms of how Dillian Whyte can sort of select opponents, whether he's sort of beholden to doing a top 15 or top 10 like the champion, for example. But I guess these things often are ironed out with a rankings update, as it were, especially if the fight is looking like it's going to be signed. And at least we know the paperwork and a deal has been reached and an offer has been made and accepted. Now it's up to Dillian Whyte. Does he want this fight? But also, what else is cooking? Maybe there is some other options there. We're hearing Dempsey McKean, for example, is moving to the UK. Maybe that would be something that Whyte would be interested in. McKean, big guy, also a couple of different rankings and different sanctioning bodies. There are options out there for Whyte. Charles Martin, Chris Arreola, their names have been mentioned. But it does seem that things are sliding into place, at least for Franklin. So we'll have to see. But what do you make of this fight? I know it's not going to please everyone. Some people won't like the fight at all. And some people will be asking, who is Jermaine Franklin? But, he's a decent heavyweight, but still at this point somewhat unproven. And coming off recent performances, hasn't always looked fantastic in his fights. But it's not to say that he can't keep developing. He's 27. He's been improving. We'll see what he brings if they actually get this fight signed. Well, what do you make of it all? Drop a comment. Loud and often. Hit like, hit subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.